my name's Sophia Laverdiere, and I'm doing a presentation on the effects of cow farming. So I wanted to start off with two pictures, and I wanted to ask you guys, which picture do you think releases the most harmful greenhouse gases? Yeah.
The right one?
No, actually, it's the cow farming. So according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, 18% is the most responsible greenhouse gas. It's above transportation, so this is important to realize that even it is greater than the effects of driving a car day in and day out. So a cow does on average release between 170 and 260 pounds of methane gas per year. So versus a car has a release of carbon dioxide, and the effects of methane on the climate are 23 times worse than the effects of carbon dioxide. So therefore, the release about 220 pounds of methane per year for each cow is equivalent to 5,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. So therefore, if you put this into perspective socially, we drive our cars every single day. It's a very important part of our lives. So the same amount of carbon dioxide is generated by 260 gallons of gasoline based on the 5,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. So with a car using 2 gallons of gas per about 62 miles, you could drive about 7,800 miles per year using about the same amount as cars releasing carbon dioxide, or as cows releasing carbon dioxide. So also the effects environmentally are shown here. So if you are farming, per se, vegetables, the effects of carbon dioxide are far less than meat. So you can see that pork and beef are at the bottom, producing 7.4 pounds of carbon dioxide versus 0.13 pounds produced by vegetable farming. So here's another graph showing how beef is the top producer of carbon dioxide. And then we have the production farming in general. So you have 32% of the greenhouse gas is produced just from the cattle, but then the 14% is just a general farm production. So, your cattle farms are releasing all of these greenhouse gases, and they are hazardous to our environment. Not only the gases, but deforestation in the Amazon. For cattle, they need area to move around. They need space. And the Amazon, they've just been They've just been ripping down trees, and this is what it looks like. It's not good for the environment because, one, your oxygen levels are going down, and the CO2 that's being released by the cows and the methane is not being filtrated out into oxygen. So socially, as Americans, we eat a lot of meat. So in 2009, our U.S. beef consumption was 14 million tons. So projected in about 2030, it will be 17 million tons of beef. This is outrageous. And compared to the rest of the world, America is over 70 pounds of beef consumption per year. So compared to Asia or, even Mexico, this is outrageous. And I know tofu is very socially up there in the Eastern countries. However, we need to adopt some sort of standpoint on this just because of the effects on the environment. Okay, so what can we do? Spread the word about how Americans are just eating so much meat that it's causing this outrageous amount of methane and CO2 production. And then we could develop more efficient waste generators. So on farms, they have a place where you can actually put the cow feces into a generator, and it will use the methane to produce more energy on farms. This isn't as popular yet, but as they develop it, it could become even more popular throughout the world if this message is spread. Or you could do your own part. You could consume less meat, look at your diet, look at the effects of cow farming, YouTube videos of, or look up Google facts on the effects of cow farming on not only my speech has presented you with some, but just in general. And then I wanted to include a quote from Albert Einstein. So he won the Nobel Prize a couple times, but in 1921 he said, "Nothing will benefit human health and increase chances of survival of life on Earth as much as the evolution of a vegetarian diet." So I know as a society it's very hard to change your ways and not consume meat, but if you do your little parts and consume less, we can make the world a better, sustainable place.